Hello everyone and welcome to Learn English with me. Have you ever been stuck in an awkward situation, don't know how to react, behave, or what to say as a non-native speaker? No matter how well you speak English and no matter how many words you know, it probably happens for all of us, and you might be surprised when you're trying to communicate with native speakers and having no idea what they're talking about, and possibly misunderstanding happens. But if you have the chance living in an English-speaking country, that would be easier. Otherwise, you might have some difficulties communicating. If you've been through something like this and if you'd like to know how it works, please keep watching, because today I'm going to tell you how culture plays a significant role in communication process. Let's begin. Language learning goes beyond the alphabet, the word arrangement, and rules of grammar. A language represents the culture of a particular social group. When you're interacting with people who speak a particular language, you're interacting with their culture too, because language and culture are intertwined and they're not separable. I believe that culture comes out of a language. To make it clear, better to know the process of forming a culture. The process starts by someone expressing an idea, a belief, or an action. Then it continues by sharing the idea within a group. And it needs to be discussed. And it would be admitted or rejected. But if acceptance happens, it grows. You see, in all the steps, language is needed. Expressing, sharing, and discussing. Actually, language sounds like a device extending the culture, but don't forget the role of paralanguage, because it's not all about talking. Human communication is very complex when paralanguage is used to transmit messages. And it owns to a specific culture, so it can lead to misunderstanding. Language and culture have also a homologous relationship, and they have evolved together, influencing one another and finally shaping what it means to be human. When you grow up in a society, you inevitably learn the gestures, glances, or even tones, and you know how to emphasize what you mean and what you're trying to say. And all these communication techniques are mostly learned by observing and imitating. You learn them from your parents and relatives and later from society. In some countries like Sweden, it's customary to keep some distance between one another when speaking if you're meeting someone for the first time, and touching the other person is often frowned upon. And in Iran and in some parts of Middle East, giving a thumbs up is considered as giving the middle finger, and it's very impolite, especially for older people who are away from social media and they're not familiar with the common body language and expressions among younger generation. People's worldview is directly influenced by the language they speak, because worldview is how a culture works out in individual practice. The world for each society is different because their language and their culture differs from each other. And I would say that speaking a language means assuming a culture. And if you want to get along with people in other languages, you need to consider culture as part of their language. And its necessity shows up when you see that intercultural communication is increasing all around the world. And it's imperative for anyone tending to understand those whose background and whose beliefs are vastly different from their own. For example, you as a manager are going to sign an important contract with a Chinese delegation at a meeting. Never tell them sit where you like. It would be a big mistake in their culture, because in Chinese culture, hierarchy is very important, and the head of the group would expect to sit at the head of the table next to the most senior member of the team. So you need to be all aware of their customs and their beliefs. And that's why brands who want to engage audiences in different markets take their time to adapt their marketing strategies and their products to suit local customs in order to increase their chances of success in individual markets. So It can help you understand the true meaning of what people say to you. And you need to know what is considered polite and what is impolite, and what is funny in their culture, what they really laugh at. I remember when I was an intermediate student and I started watching Friends, the popular, fantastic, and unique series that I personally have learned many things from. And at the beginning, nothing was funny, and I really didn't even smile. I was wondering what they were laughing at. I mean, the background sound of original laughs, because Friends was set in front of live audience. At the beginning, I was like this. And after watching 3 or 4 seasons and watching many other English movies and being in touch with real English, I was like this. And that's me now when I even remember one of its scenes. And that is very enjoyable for me to get to know how they live, how they think, and what are their beliefs and what are their values. And finally, I believe that it makes you to be a better person. As I told you, language and culture change over time. Let's take a look at the origin of the word awesome. The earliest use of it comes in the late 16th century, and it generally referred to feelings of fear or dread. And it began to change in the middle of 20th century to mean very impressive. The word bimbo, that's an insulting word for an attractive but unintelligent woman, and that was derived from an Italian word bambino, if I'm right with the pronunciation, and it means baby. I like to add that how bilinguals' character change when they turn to another language. It sounds like the way they think in English, for example, differs from their way of thinking in Spanish. It should be close to natives, facilitating communication. But the way I see it, borders are breaking down. Why social media has become part of our life, and the world is getting smaller and smaller every day. A new generation from all over the world have a lot in common, no matter where they've been born and grown up and what language they speak. They have a lot of common body language, the same catchphrases, and similar worldview. And really, they're not stuck into their values and cultures. And I believe that communication will be much more easier in the future. Thank you guys for watching me. Please share one of your funniest experiences about this. And don't forget to subscribe my channel. Take care and goodbye.